There are people making thousands of dollars online selling products that they never even have to ship themselves. It's a complete online process in which you are partnering with a print provider to print, pack, and ship your items as they're ordered. I personally have been doing this business model since 2020 and was able to make my first 100K profit within 6 months doing so. This process is called print on demand, and I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about it and how exactly you can be successful with it on a platform like Etsy. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Mac. I'm an e-commerce seller and I make videos talking about everything to do with e-commerce, how to sell products online, different ways of making money online, and all things Etsy. So if that interests you, I'd love to have you as a part of our community here on YouTube. Now, specifically with print on demand, there are multiple options for where you can sell your products, but one of the best ways as a beginner to get started and increase your sales is by selling on an e-commerce marketplace like Etsy. This is how I personally was able to scale my first print on demand store, because when you're selling on an e-commerce marketplace, you have more of an opportunity to reach customers even without marketing experience. There's millions of buyers going to Etsy with the active intent to make a purchase. So selling on a platform like this, rather than building your own website and having to drive all the traffic, can be very beneficial, like I said, if you're a beginner. Now, a lot of people have the question of how can I actually make money on Etsy? There's so many sellers, there's so much competition, and I'm gonna break down this exact process for you and what I did to stand out on a platform like Etsy. So first things first, in selling online is always to make sure that you know who you're selling to. This goes across the board, but especially on Etsy, because there are so many people that are already actively coming here for this purchase. They're searching for something, and we wanna make sure that we're creating what they're searching for to really get the chance of having a sale. So our first thing is going to be niche and product research. Many people will start out on platforms like Etsy just by uploading and designing exactly what they want to design. They don't put any thought into it. They just get excited and start making random designs and throwing it on Etsy. And this is a problem and why so many people don't see success, because there's no intention for what it is that they're creating. And that's how I know that I was able to reach success so quickly on Etsy, because I understood how to actually market towards a specific target audience. So the first thing that I want you to do, if you do or not have a store yet, is decide on a niche that you want to sell to. This can always be changed. You most likely will pivot if you've never sold online before, but going in with an intention is going to not only help you to be better and improve if you don't get sales right away, but can also help you to get sales quicker than you would if you're just throwing random products on your store. So when you're deciding on a niche, you want to think of a few different things. You want to take note of something that you have a prior interest or knowledge in. This is going to help you to create the designs better. You also want to check out who's selling in that niche, what types of products are selling in that niche, and if there's room for you to come in without a ton of competition. So once you have an idea of a niche that you want to sell to, we then want to see what products and designs are selling already in that niche that we can take inspiration from and create our own. So one of my favorite ways to do product research within my niche and to help me optimize my listings is by using a Chrome extension. I personally use Everbee, which is a Chrome extension that links directly to my Etsy store. And because it's an extension, it's going to show me specific data to any type of listing that I want to look at on Etsy's platform. Not only is it going to show me their titles, tags, keywords, favorites, all of the above, but it's also going to show me how much revenue that listing is making, which is a beautiful thing because that tells me whether or not the product's selling and how much the seller could potentially be making with this product, so that I can use all of this information to create a well-selling product on my own. So there is a free version of Everbee, but it also is a paid extension. So how Everbee works is I'm able to type in my niche into the search bar on Etsy and pull up the product analyzer to see all of the different listings on that page and compare their prices, compare their monthly sales, how many sales they've made in the year, and get an average result of all of these different listings, which is such a useful tool, like I said, for sellers. So when you're using this tool, there's so many different things that you can do. But one of the most important things is looking and taking note of what we're seeing repetitively. So when we have a page like this loaded, we can see what types of designs are working. Are the products being sold custom? Are they selling different types of color schemes in their designs? We can really take note on all of these things so that when we go to create our specific product, we have a vision and an intent of what we're designing. So once you type in this word, you'll be able to get an idea of seeing what types of products are selling in this niche. Now, a great way to do this as well is typing in your niche on social media and seeing what types of products come up for that. So for example, if you type in nurse gift, what types of products come up? You can then plug that in into your Etsy Chrome extension and see how those products are selling. So that's a really cool hack that I use. I always use social media or Pinterest to do this, and then I fact check it with Everbee's Chrome extension. Once you have an idea of a design that you want to make, you have a niche or product that you want to sell, the next step is creating a well-rounded Etsy listing that is going to stand out against the competition. Regardless of how good your product design is, if you are not correctly optimizing your listing for your target audience, you're not going to make sales. That's just the way that it is. So very key here, if you take anything from this video, is create optimized listings on your Etsy store. There's two very important parts when we're optimizing a listing, and that is the number one thing is going to be our SEO for that listing, and is it what our potential buyer is typing in to find that, and are we giving Etsy the right tools to put our listing in front of the correct buyer. So our SEO stands for search engine optimization, and that is a fancy way of saying what your buyer is going to type into that search bar to find your item. So it's very crucial that we are using proven keywords in our tags and titles. Now, back to what I said using a Chrome extension, why these are so key, is you can get proven keywords by looking at the selling listings. So if we see that a listing is making thousands a month, we can take the keywords from these best-selling listings to curate our own title. Titles on Etsy do typically have a specific lineup. We have long tail keywords, and then we have our other keywords that are going to fit in our title that's going to help us in that SEO process. So if our title just says blue mug, but it has a dog on it, someone that's looking for a blue dog mug is not going to find it because the keyword dog was not in our title. So what I like to do personally is go through and save all of these different keywords and tags and titles into either a note section or a Google Doc, and then create my own title based off of that and what I think would work for my specific product. Now, you cannot just take someone else's title, copy and paste it for your own listing, because then their listing is going to show up for that because they already have sales generated. So you can use different keywords that are working well for another listing, but you don't want to take it word for word. I just want to let you know of that. But it's so crucial to be able to see what the exact tags are in these different listings, and you can do that by using these Chrome extensions or by scrolling down on listings. So moving on with optimizing your Etsy listing, not only is your title super important, but within the listing, we need to include keywords in other places as well. Now, Etsy is recently testing out a new search feature on their platform, and this is really heavy on attributes. So in your Etsy listing, there is a section called attributes, and this is going to give you different options to help the Etsy search algorithm bring you the correct customer. So it's going to ask you things like, is this related to a holiday? What types of colors? What is your product? Is it a sweatshirt? Is it a t-shirt? You want to be specific and use these attributes anywhere that you can. Now, do not fill them out just to fill them out. If there's some that don't apply to you, if you're not selling for a holiday, don't fill that out because it's not going to work for that, and it can even confuse the algorithm further. So add in the attributes that make sense and don't leave this blank. The next thing is going to be having tags in your Etsy listings that are crucial, that can work almost like a hashtag. So think if you're posting on social media or if you see something with a hashtag, it's the same thing for tags when you're selling online. So it's keywords that helps the algorithm and helps Etsy's search engine know what it is that you're selling to get it in front of the right buyer. You have to remember that the more money when you're selling on an e-commerce e-commerce marketplace like Etsy, the more money you make, the more money they make. So they want to help you out. So they're giving you all the tools within these listings. You just have to know how to do it correctly. So again, if we do use our tool on Everbee, we can see which keywords were working for those other listings, put them in a Google Doc, and copy and paste them for what works to that specific design or product that we're selling in our Etsy listing. Now, the last part to this that I mentioned is your photos. It's so important to have photos that are going to be eye-catching, that are directed towards your audience. You really want to take note of this. I love to use different types of mock-up websites to get lots of good photos for my listings. When we are using print providers like Printify, I use them. They do have stock images, but those are not enough. You're going to see tons of different stock images on Etsy when you're scrolling, and none of these are standing out that makes a buyer want to purchase. So that's where mock-ups come in, and we can source mock-ups from tons of different places to help have our listings have a certain vibe to them that goes along with your shop, your aesthetic, or your niche. So this is a great way to stand out. We always want to make sure that our mock-ups are accurate, so be very aware that the product you're selling looks like the mock-up so that you don't get flagged on Etsy. I want you to know that there is still room for you to make success on Etsy. You still can make sales. It is not oversaturated. There are so many people in the world that are actively trying to buy things. So as long as you have a strategy in place, you can be successful selling online. I really hope some of these tips were helpful to you. I curate this from all of my own personal experience in print on demand and on Etsy. So if this was helpful, please let me know by leaving a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This helps me stay motivated to create more videos like this one and know that you enjoyed it as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.